This is my view from my window.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, it's a nice day. It's about 7 o'clock. Got 1:15.
So what's going on? What's happening with the what's happening with the Sacred Mother Tongue thing, man? I heard that you're supposed to go to.
We just finished up a couple of days of rehearsals. I mean, some of it was filmed. I'll see if I can get hold of it.
So what's happening with the Asia thing? How many dates have you booked for that?
I'll tell you. Just have a look. Just have a look on the old emails. Actually, I can tell you. 17th to the 25th, I think, we're doing in China.
How many actual shows?
5 or 6, I think. It's a big festival, and then it's like a Hangzhou festival or something over there. It's like a big fucking thing.
And all the shows are at this one festival?
No. That's kicking it off, and then we're just going to like Shanghai, and between Shanghai and Beijing, we're just doing some dates.
Is there anything?
I'm staying out, and I'm doing some clinics from like the 25th to the 3rd of June.
For ESP?
No, just some geezer that wants to do some Andy James clinics. So I'm doing about 9 of them, I think, over there.
So like a masterclass kind of thing?
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Do you guys have anything planned for after that?
No, not really. We're coming back. I mean, I'm away for a few days at the end of June.
Okay.
But yeah, apart from that, past June, I'm not really doing anything. So.
Okay.
And the band aren't, but we want to carry on touring and gigging and doing stuff. But
that was more. I wanted to get a grasp from you of what the future plans were for Sacred Mother Tongue. I mean, I know you're pushing your solo thing through your manufacturers and everything, but I know a few times we've spoken and you really, were confident about the band thing and wanting to do that.
Yeah. I mean, we've just EMI are interested in the new album so much so that they're going to take it on and do like a dual release with Transcend and EMI.
Okay.
Which means they're probably going to put a bit of money in, not a lot, but more than what we've had. And then and then I guess we're just going to promote the fuck out of it and see how we get on, But we're just really raring to go on it. We're getting the show up and running. That's what we've been doing for the last 2 days because, I mean, try as we might, we can't find another guitar player, and you know what, we just thought, fuck it, we don't need one. I've done all the guitars in the fucking studio. If we need any guitars under the solos and stuff, we can just do it to track. And I mean, that's all we're doing. We're not relying on any backings or anything while we're playing. It's just, things when the solo kicks in, we want the rhythm and stuff, and then just some held chords and just some kind of, like low down picking stuff that was in the actual recording just to kind of pad the low end out a little bit, Fucking Rusty Cooley wants to be the rhythm guitarist for Sacred Mother Tongue. Do you know that?
No, I didn't know that. I have no doubt, dude. I'm sure a ton of players would want to play with you.
He loves the band. He thinks it's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
But he actually offered, and I turned him down. I went, well, how's it going to work, mate? You live fucking 4,000 miles away.
Yeah. And at the end of it,
he doesn't play 6 strings either. You can't play our stuff on a 7 string because it's awkward tuning. He wouldn't be able to play all. He'd have to play a 6 string, and he wouldn't do that. So.
Who would probably move to the UK to do that gig with you would be Chris, man.
Chris
Feener.
Yeah, but there's no fucking money in it. There's no. I mean, he'd be great, but he's doing this Epicurean thing, though, isn't he?
Oh man, you have to hear. He sent me three tracks. Like when we did the feature with him, he sent me a bunch of music that he used in part of the videos. Damn, man. That kid is like, for a kid of his age, he's got skills, man.
Yeah, I know, he's really good. Yeah. I think he's great.
And the new music is, it's interesting, man. It's really interesting.
You heard any of the new Sacred stuff?
No.
Okay.
I mean, you let me hear tidbits on your phone, and you kept teasing, but.
No, it's the first half of the album's all mixed now. It's all done. So I mean, I might send you a track or something if you behave yourself.
If I behave myself. The first record you did.
Yeah.
Did you promote that at all?
Which?
The first one. Very blue. I don't have a title for it. Mike sent me a folder with your first record. I don't even know what it's called, man.
Which first? What, mine?
Yes, your first record.
Oh, right, okay.
Instrumental record.
Well, that could have been a general your or your. You know what I mean?
No, for future reference, if I'm speaking of you, it's you. If I'm speaking of Sacred Mother, it's Sacred Mother.
Tongue.
Anyway, not to get off the point. Did you like not promote that record?
No, fucking hell. I mean, I was still working at a place called Norwich Union, which was like an insurance company. Like, you know, I was just sat behind a desk taking monkey phone calls all day.
What does that have to do with anything?
What do you want, like? Fuck off. I hate the general public when it comes to serving them coffee, burgers, or insurance, man. It's fucking...
I understand that.
But
we're gonna get to like how the music business treats you and if you're making any money doing that. But my question is did you go out of your way to promote that record at all?
No, I didn't. I don't even like it.
I knew it.
I spent ages fucking doing it with a mate of mine, Rob. He helped me because we went to college together, and he studied like recording techniques and all the rest of it. And you know, I didn't know fuck all about it. I mean, I wrote a bunch of songs with a drum machine and stuff. And he kind of said, "Well, look, you know, I'll help you out if you want. We'll kind of program up all the drums, and you can record the guitars at mine and stuff." And it was great, you know. It was just a sort of week-long piss-up, really. That was just quite funny.
Funny, but funny musically, or funny musically, or funny recording-wise?
No, just funny, like, you know, banter, you know, between just.
Because you like the song. You like the song.
Like, anyway, my fucking attention span is just ridiculous.
Yeah. Horrible ADD, man. Terrible.
Yeah. The opportunity to just
stare out the window and not address what's going on.
No, I'm looking at something over there. It's a bit of grass. It's annoying me.
So musically, you dug it. It was the recording process that you didn't dig.
No. It was the recording process I liked, but the recording, I don't know. It turned out all right. And then a mate of mine, Chris, helped me mix it and stuff. I mean, to be honest, to turn around and say I don't like it is kind of a bit like. I mean, I'm sure if I put it on now, I'd be like, "Oh right, yeah, that sounds all right." But I think the songs are, you know, it's definitely you know, you can hear what I was maybe trying to do, but I don't think I really got there. The guitar playing's less than ideal for me, but I don't think I was as good then. You know, I didn't know half the stuff that, because I was still working. You know, kind of life gets in the way with shit like that. You know, you got a bird, you got a job. You know, you got to go out and do things that you don't want to do, like family dinners and fucking. You know, it just kind of eats into your life, really, especially when you're trying to get better at your instrument.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. I listened to that record backwards and forwards several times, and it's honest, and it's you. Like, the record is you, man. And you know what? I hear the purposeful departure from this to what you're doing now. Like, why, I don't know exactly, because, like, and I hear in your playing, and I told you this in California, like, the raw, feel, bluesy, fusion-esque blend of your stuff and your music. I mean, much more heavy now, and you were very adamant about pointing out that it has to be, like, heavy now, but do you, like... It doesn't have to
be, it's just, I don't know, like, I just, see, the thing is, when I did that album, I wasn't really into metal at the time. You know, I hadn't really, you know, I mean, I liked sort of heavier bands and stuff, but I'd never really got into like metal. You know, I didn't really grow up with it, so it was kind of a little bit of a. I was kind of backtracking with it, going over things that maybe I should have grown up with, you know, but I kind of bypassed all that, you know. So I sort of ended up going through like, you know, Guns N' Roses Extreme, Satriani Boy, all that sort of stuff, and then. You know, I bypassed a lot of the sort of bands like Pantera, Metallica, Megadeth, you know, all of that, and just went sort of the cock rock route round and listened to all the guitar players and all that sort of stuff. And then, you know, bands like Racer X and, you know, and then Alter Bridge and kind of, I don't know, just sort of bands really. Like Dream Theater have always been a band I've been into. I don't know, a bunch of other bands and stuff, but.
Do you think that you'll ever maybe go back and remix some of that stuff, re-release it, or maybe do a record more similar to that vibe?
Probably not. I don't know, because I think all of that was because I mean, if you listen to like Machine, is the first album. That's what it's called. I think you can kind of definitely hear the change from that. There's metal elements, and then you know you've got In the Wake of Chaos, which again, you know, I'm not entirely happy with, you know, because I didn't have a budget, I didn't have any money. I just wanted to do an album and put it out, you know. And it's definitely a bit more metal in places, you know. It's kind of progressing up to where I wanted to get, but I couldn't. I don't know why. It was only really until I joined Sacred that I don't know. I learned how to kind of write songs better. You know, it's Darren really. When I met Darren and we were working on new, you know, Sacred stuff and all the rest of it, because they'd done a couple of EPs and they were already a band for like 4 years or something before I even joined.
Like, are you getting by on music alone?
Yeah, just about.
Well, that's good, man. Hey, how was Germany, man?
Yes, great. Did you see any of the videos?
Yeah, I mean, I saw a few of them. I'll click and I'll listen for a few minutes, but how much Andy can you hear? After one point, it's like...
Yeah, no, I'm the same, mate. Fucking hell. I have to live with it.
Yeah, please.
No, I do. I get sick of my own playing. Like, I mean, to be honest, I play and play and play. I never get bored. But I do find myself thinking, fucking hell, I need to do something else here. I don't know. But that's when I start writing. You know, I start writing a vehicle for my playing, and then it becomes more interesting. Because when you just sit and jam on your own, I'm not one of those guitar players that comes up with anything inventive, you know. I'm not like, say, you know...
Well, you know what? It's funny. I don't want to interrupt you, but what's funny about that is we don't think so. But at the end of the day, what I've noticed is me, you, or anybody else, like while we're sitting there riffing away and playing, in our heads we're thinking, yeah, this is fucking bollocks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you should like still like try and use your iPhone, man, record everything, because when you go back to it, for me personally anyway, and somebody else might hear something and they'll be like, yeah, you know, that with something else would work, you know, like, because we're all our own worst critics, man, all the time, you know, and I know the shit in the past that me and however many other musicians and guitar players have signed off on because we thought it was shit, you know, because we're our own worst critics, you know. And
yeah, but you know, the thing I'll say for that is that that's a good thing, because, you know, if you think it's shit and you know, and other people think it's great, so what? I just think, well, if I think it's shit, I'm never going to listen to it, and I'm never going to appreciate all the work I will put in to getting that sounding as good as it can sound, and still thinking the shit. So, you know, I think, to be honest, I don't really write to please other people. It just kind of so happens that it does, you know. But I write essentially because I want to listen to it, and that's why I did the last album. You know, I haven't heard a guitar album. I mean, you know, I always kind of say this statement and then carry on my anecdote, but you know, it's not that I think that I've reinvented the wheel with the last album that I did or anything like that. You know, I'm not doing anything particularly new, but it does strike me in the guitar world that very few people know how to write a song. And I know it sounds like, oh, well, you know, I think I know fucking best, but I don't. But, you know, I've heard so many guitar albums where it's, you know, they're relying on the quirkiness of it to kind of be different. And I think, no, that's totally wrong for me. You know, it's not what I want to hear. Someone squealing a weird fucking note every so often, or doing some weird time signature or something that just doesn't create any vibe, you know. I think, you know, the only way you're ever going to do that is to go back to your basic song structure and then build on that, you know. But I don't know, everyone's different. I mean, I stay true to myself, really. I write stuff that I like, and I think that's what you can do, really. I mean, if nobody liked it, I'd still write music. I'd just do it for me.
And that's the way it comes out best, man. You know, it's more honest that way, obviously. You know.
Yeah, yeah. But I'm not forcing myself to be something I'm not. You know, which is kind of going back to your earlier point about, you know, the whole metal thing. I think now, you know, the thing that kind of really gets me with the band is like groove and riffs and having that thing. You know, I find stuff that doesn't have that a little bit uninspiring. You know. but it has to be good if it's not that. So, like, I mean, if you're not listening to metal, you know, and you're not getting that groove and the rhythm and all the rest of it, you start looking for other things, and it becomes melody and production and things like that, you know, and general sort of songwriting, you know. So, I mean, if I stick on, say, like, I don't know, a Daughtry album or something like that, you know, that's a fucking really good album. You know, both them albums are great. He's a great singer, he's a great songwriter, or I don't know if he writes all of his stuff or whatever. But you know what? It's not got the riffs and it's not powerful in some respects, but it's still great music, you know what I mean? Or like Breaking Benjamin or 30 Seconds to Mars or something like that. You know, technically it's not amazing or it doesn't have that sort of thing, but they're just great songs, and I suppose it gives you a feeling of, I don't know, just like that sort of epicness of it, you know. Which is kind of why I've never really got into things like the Beatles and things like that, because for me, yeah, it's, you know, it's deemed as great songwriting and all the rest of it, but coupled with the production and the kind of cheesy, happy element of it, it's not really me, so I don't really follow suit with what everyone else thinks, you know.
Yeah, no, I follow you. I mean, how can you not respect the Beatles? I
Yeah,
too
exactly.
respect them, but I don't have any of their records in my collection. You know, I mean, and
No.
I understand you being, yeah,
they're good songs, you know.
I understand you being true to yourself, but when I referred to your first record,
Yeah.
the reference was more. I could hear, like, I mean, obviously we're listening to it now. I can hear the questioning in the recording, you know what I mean?
Right.
But at the same time, I hear how natural it is. Like, I hear all of your natural playing on that record. Not to say that I don't on the new record, but it sounds to me like the new record was more of a push towards something darker or heavier.
I don't know. The new record's really natural. Like, all those songs were written over like a period of sort of 2 years. You know, they just so happen to work together. I think the element of the production and recording side has probably made the songs a bit darker than maybe they originally were. You know, because the heaviness of the drums and the guitars, and it was just, you know, Scott knows what he's doing. I don't. You know, I mean, you want to hear some of the fucking demos? They sound dreadful, like. But
because there was that record is drum programs, right?
which?
The new one.
No, it's Lee from Sacred.
It's all real drums.
Yeah. He played it.
Okay. All right.
That's how good he is, you know.
Now,
You very rarely find drummers that can hit properly and play in time, and, you know, especially in this kind of pro-tooled world that we live in, you know, it's hard to kind of grasp who's actually good and who relies heavily on the recording process. You know, I've seen a lot of metal bands and, you know, people that, you know, even guitar players and stuff. I mean, I'm not going to mention any names because that would be, you know, extremely unprofessional. But there are some players and, you know, drummers, guitar players alike, even singers to a certain degree, that rely so much on the studio that when they go out, it's just such a disappointment. You just think, fucking hell, this is... And it kind of begs the question, well, why do they get that notoriety, and why do they kind of become big, and, you know, what is it that people see that, you know, because it's obviously not done for the musician's sake, it's done for the kind of greater listening public, I suppose. I don't know. It's really hard to put your finger on what people see in something, you know, because, I mean, you would think that the kind of natural order of things, the better you are at the instrument, you know, the better you will do in the music industry, but that's simply not the case, you know.
No.
You could be the fucking...
It's a shame, man. It's a shame, but the industry is so much more like that now, you know. Churned out, cut and paste this, and okay, thank you very much, next. It's like, and I totally agree with you, man. And I got a good grasp on some of the people that you're referring to, you know. I mean, and that does suck. When you recorded the last record, did you do all of the tracks with him? Like, you played all your rhythm tracks at the same time?
No, because we didn't have the time and stuff. But what we did do is I did like guide guitars and stuff.
And he played to the guides.
Yeah, he played to the guides. But what we did, instead of doing like sections, you know, because obviously, you know, things you can't get a drummer to play like sections of a song and then cut it in, because you've got things like cymbals that will carry on ringing. If you cut that off, it's going to be a mess. You know, you're going to end up in a fucking, you know, unless you end up replacing everything. But no, we just got Lee. I mean, he basically did like 10 takes of each song. He did all the drums in like 2 days or something, 2.5 days.
Now, recorded natural acoustic drums, but they all had triggers on them, right?
Well, what you're hearing is natural drums, but they're propped up, you know. But like the snare is 70%. Well, most of the kit and stuff is pretty much 70% kit. But I mean, you know, to hear the kit without triggers, I mean, it sounded fucking. It was thumping anyway. You know what I mean? The only thing that Scott does with triggers is it kind of evens out the kit, because obviously when you have double kick passages and faster tom rolls and stuff, you know, you substitute power for accuracy. You know, so you end up with the hits, but they're not quite as maybe as where you want them. So, you know, that, but the whole point of triggers is that, you know, when you start going into fucking complete drum replacement, you know, you take the hit out and you put a sample in, it, you know, then it becomes...
Yeah, no.
There's no velocity changes, there's no, you know...
Yeah, for sure. The bottom line is, at the end of the day, all the real acoustic drums are there.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, and you can tell that it is. But if you're given a choice and budget, would you have gone back and done the natural feel of all the rhythm tracks with him live off the floor?
No.
So you're okay with the...
Because I'm not, contrary to popular belief, a great rhythm guitarist, really, or what I would kind of call great. You know, a lot of, I mean, I'll admit, I do rely on the modern kind of way of recording. You know, we're kind of doing bits of multi-layering, but the trouble is like when you've got like 2 guitars aside and stuff, you know, if you don't pay attention to takes that are fairly similar, you'll end up with loads of phase issues and it just won't sound tight at all. And, you know, you want to get that big guitar sound, but if you've got so many different guitar takes that are that much out with each other, it just won't work, you know. So, I mean, I very rarely, I mean, none of the sacred stuff or my stuff did I sit and play the songs from start to finish and then use the best takes. It didn't work like that. Solos, it did. You know, when we track like the leads and stuff. But the thing is, I'm more of a lead guitarist, you know, I always have been. And that's why, even with being in a band, I still do my instrumental stuff, because it's where I truly come from, I think, as a player, you know. But, you know, my rhythm chops, you know, they're getting better, they're improving. I mean, when I first went in the studio with Sacred, it was fucking, you know, I really had to up my game. I was like, Christ, I didn't realise it had to be that fucking tight, you know. But now it's
everything I've heard so far, man. I mean, I understand what you're saying rhythmically, but even after first meeting you in Amsterdam, I still thought that you were a killer rhythm guitar player, man. You know?
Yeah, but the thing is, my rhythm stuff, I mean, I'm better playing classic rock than I am metal. Which is funny because this, I mean, so many people have probably got a preconceived idea of what Andy James is, you know. But to be honest, I don't come from a metal background, and I still don't.
You
know,
don't need to convince me of that.
No, but you know, this is the thing. I think in order to become a good metal player, I think you have to not have been born into that. I think you have to kind of have the natural, you know, phrasing and everything from, you know, I mean, like fucking hell, like, you know, Andy Timmons and John Petrucci and players like that, I mean, they're not, you know, they never started out playing metal, did they? You know, they're into prog. And,
yeah, but Andy,
you know, Stevie Ray Vaughan's a big influence on Andy Timmons, you know, and you can hear it in his phrasing and all the rest of it. But
you can't be categorized as a metal player, though. You're not a metal player. You are a guitar player, well-rounded guitar player, playing metal music, playing that genre. You know what I mean? Yeah. Your approach to, from what my ears hear, your approach to playing is not a metal approach to playing, like a guy born into metal, which is what makes it beautiful. You know what I mean? Anybody that I let listen to your stuff, they're all like, "Wow, this is like completely different." They don't. It's not expected from a metal format. You know what I mean? You're playing anyway. The music, obviously, the rhythms and the drumming and the sounds. Yes, you know that genre, but
yeah, I mean, you can kind of look at players that you can tell. Like, I mean, like great metal players. I mean, look at Marty Friedman. Like, I mean, I wouldn't have thought that a lot of his. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm only speculating based on what I'm hearing. But you know, it doesn't strike me as somebody who has a metal background necessarily. You know, there's other things going on that make him, you know, sound and use different phrasing. I mean, you know, look at Jason Becker. Like, you know, he's got a lot of classical influence and stuff like that. You know, and all the rest of it. You know, and. I don't know, you know, it's hard to sort of say, well, then if that's not metal playing, then what is? And I don't know. It's funny because then you have to start naming examples and stuff like that of what you would classify as, well, that's bog standard metal guitar playing. Which I suppose bog standard metal guitar playing for me is basic classic rock played with a bit more game. Do you know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah.
There's no. It's box positions. It's boring fucking licks and pentatonic things, but just played with less tone. And you know, that to me is what metal kind of is. And it's always something that I've never been keen on. You know what I mean? I think I like the sound of metal rhythm guitars and stuff. I mean, look at Scar Symmetry, right? I mean, the fucking guy's rhythm. I mean, that's metal rhythm playing. But I mean, his soloing is just so far from metal. It's unbelievable. You know?
Mm-hmm.
But it works. It's nice to listen to. It's good phrasing. It's a good tone. It's not harsh tone and boring licks. You know what I mean? It's thought about.